Hi, students. This is Elizabeth and Alina again, and this is a video designed to give you a little bit more explanation about your essay 4 assignment. Um, First off, I'd really encourage you to read through this essay 4 assignment before you start watching the movie Perfect Days. The essay of you need to have read the whole book, No Nonsense for Beginners, or probably most of the book, before you can start the essay, the whole book before you can write the whole thing. But it will be helpful to know about to have read through this assignment closely before you watch the movie. So the movie you're going to watch is called Perfect Days. It's by Wim Wenders. You can find it on Canopy. You should not have to pay for it. If you have any trouble following this link to watch it, email me and I'll help you out. Um, the movie's just over 2 hours long. Um, and one of the reasons, or the reason I picked this movie is because many people view it as kind of very much shaped by a Buddhist worldview. And so I thought it would be a great movie to analyze as a way of reviewing what we've learned from Noah Rashida's book, No Nonsense Buddhism for Beginners. So what you're going to do in this essay is you're going to imagine you are addressing a high school class watching this movie as an introduction to Buddhist philosophy. You can assume they've seen the movie, but not yet learned about the foundational tenets of Buddhism, which are the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. In your essay, you're going to write a 3 to 5 page essay in which you introduce the class to the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. It's okay to just list those things, but in which you also explain how the movie illustrates any 6 of these 12 foundational tenets of Buddhist philosophy, which you have learned about from reading Rashida. You should also mention Rashida's book to the high school class since you will be referring to it in your speech. And remember, book titles should be in italics. I'm going to suggest some crucial moments in the film to look at, but if you want to brainstorm ideas with me or with Alina after seeing the movie, let me know. Link your analysis to No Nonsense Buddhism for Beginners by including at least 3 quotations from the book, followed by page numbers in parentheses to illustrate your points. Also, as you speak to the class, be sure to include specific examples of things characters do and say or don't say in the movie so that they understand these tenets of Buddhism more clearly. To see a list of characters from the movie, you can go to this link right here. Um, a couple things you should know before you watch the movie. Um, this movie features the Tokyo Toilet Project, in which architects from all over the world were invited to design public restrooms for Tokyo. And you might be interested to learn more about the project by going to a link on this page. Another thing you might want to know about this movie is that Aya, the young woman Takashi wants to take out in the movie, works at a girls' club. And this is a reference to what are usually known as hostess clubs, places in Tokyo where men go to be entertained by female hostesses who serve them drinks and converse with them. Some hostess clubs have strict policies which prohibit the men from touching or engaging in sexual talk. In other hostess clubs, the man may touch the women above the waist and discuss sex with them. So there's a little bit of a feeling with that character of Aya that, she's maybe seen as maybe looser than another woman might be seen as. And maybe Takasha thinks she's especially attractive because she works at one of these hostess clubs. In any case, you can read an account of what hostess clubs in Tokyo are like at this link. The other thing it's good to know, the main character, one of the main characters in the movie, Hiroyama's niece, Nico, is reading about a story by Patricia Highsmith called Terrapin. It's a short story. It helps to know that the story is about a boy, Victor, whose mother is emotionally abusive. Nico says she knows just what Victor is going through, which is kind of suggests to us that maybe Nico is being emotionally abused. After Nico leaves, taking the book with her, Hiroyama buys a new copy at the bookstore and is reading the story towards the end of the movie as he waits for the bar to open. So he's kind of discovering what Nico was identifying with in that scene where he's reading the book. So I gave you a lot of tips here. I would encourage you, since there are 12 foundational tenets of Buddhism, you only have to discuss 6. I just encourage you to relate the movie to the 6 concepts or tenets you understand the best. And you don't have to make it that complicated. The first noble truth is that all life is suffering. So you could talk about the different kinds of suffering that exist in the movie. Some of the suffering seems to be about really petty, stupid stuff, which all of us can obsess about sometimes. Some of the examples of suffering are about really big, important things. Suffering arises from desire. What desires lead to suffering in the movie? Some of these might be really small, others seem very understandable and important. Attachment can be overcome. Does any character in the movie struggle to overcome an attachment? And I'll let you read the rest of these questions, but I encourage you to read through them before you watch the movie so you have these thoughts in mind as you read. Um, I think that's maybe everything I have to say. As you conclude your speech, you might speak about the value or lack of value of seeing these tenets as they exist in the lives of these characters. Can doing so make us approach our lives any differently or more constructively? One of the reasons we're studying Buddhism in this section is because when we got to the end of Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl encouraged us to be decent people. And I think various religions and various spiritual practices are very focused on that question. How do we become decent people? How do we cultivate decency in a world with so much evil and suffering? So you may have a religion that helps you do that. We're studying the Buddhist approach to that question. So you might keep that context in mind as you write this paper. All right, I asked Alina to say a little bit about her experience of working on this paper when she took this class.
Yeah, hi everyone. Um, I mean, the tips that I have for this paper is obviously number one, read the book and watch the movie. Um, I would say that watching the movie one time might not be enough, but just go back to the parts where you feel like you need to kind of uh, review the movie. And another thing that I did was I used these questions while I was watching the movie and kind of like I would pause and write stuff down about a specific question and continue watching the movie and pause again if something came up. And I think that gave me a better idea of which 6 um, parts like I understood the best about the Buddhism, like the Eightfold Path and that stuff. So I would recommend doing that. And I also remember meeting with Professor Breyer to brainstorm for ideas about what to write about. So if any of you feel like that would be helpful, definitely reach out and you can meet with either me or Professor Breyer, and we would be happy to help as always. I think that's pretty much all that I had for this one.
Yep, let us know if you want help brainstorming, if you want us to look at your rough draft. Make sure to integrate 3 quotes from No Nonsense Buddhism for Beginners, and make sure to have page numbers. And as always with the essays in this class, details and examples, be specific. That's the papers that use a lot of specific examples tend to be the ones that are strongest. Let us know if you have any questions or concerns. Oh, there it is.